ladies, I'm going to give you some notes on worksheet 7.7, so make sure you have that in front of you. Okay, we have already talked about counting the slope and the y-intercept when we look at a line on a piece of graph paper. So just to remind you, if I want to count the slope, I pick two convenient points, which is the y-intercept's a nice point to pick, so I can go ahead and name that. The y-intercept is 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. And for the slope, I need to find a second convenient point. You want to pick points where they cross through at the little crossbars. Like this is not a good point because it crosses through, you have to estimate that value. You want to pick either this one, that one's probably okay, this one down here. It's not a bad idea to double check that you get the same answer with several points. So the slope here is a rise of 2 and a run of 3. A rise of 2 and a run of 3, and the slope is positive. Okay? Rise of 2 and a run of 3. All right? Second one, again, we're just making sure we remember how to do this. Count the slope and the y-intercept. The y-intercept's right here. That's a nice easy one. I'll do that first. It's 1. And the slope, there's a good point right there, or down here is a good point. My slope is 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. I'm going to check it with another one. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. So this time my slope is 4 over 1, but the slope is negative. And there's my slope of -4. That was on the quiz that you just took. All right? Now I want you to take a look at these two and notice that these two numbers, the slope and the y-intercept, appear in the equation. The slope, 2/3, is right there. It's the coefficient of x. And the y-intercept, -4, is right there. It's the constant. Okay? Look at the second equation. The slope, right here, the coefficient of x, and the y-intercept, +1, is the constant. We're going to use that information to make it easier and quicker to graph lines so that we don't have to make those tables of values, which we have to all agree is a little bit annoying. Okay, so what we're going to do is take this equation, and when we look at the equation, we're going to take the slope from right here, the coefficient of x. We're going to write it down. The slope is -3/2. Then we're going to take the y-intercept from right here, the constant. So the y-intercept is going to be 2. We're going to use those two pieces of information to draw our graph instead of making a table of values. So B, the y-intercept is 2. Remember that it's 0, 2. Go to the y-axis, put a dot on the 2. And then you're going to do your slope, which is rise over run. Make sure that you note that that slope is negative, so you better be going downhill when you draw your graph. Okay? Down 3, and to the right 2. Down 3, and to the right 2. How many times? Until you fill up the space. And don't forget that you also need to go up and to the left. I can only do that once. You don't have to have all those little dots on your paper. I don't mind them being there. It's okay to put them there. It's okay if you don't put them there. And this is going to be our shortcut. Okay? All right. So we're going to take a look at this equation. Our slope is the coefficient of x. So you need to recognize that there's that invisible 1 as a coefficient. Our slope is -1. And our y-intercept, you need to take not just the 3, but also that sign needs to go with it. So the y-intercept is going to be -3. All right? Our slope has to be a fraction, so you need to take that whole number, that integer, and put it over 1. And once again, we have a negative slope. All right, our y-intercept. 0, -3. Go to the y-axis, go down to -3. Our slope is -1 over 1. Make sure that your slope is going downhill. So I like the slope of 1. That's easy. It's just like every little corner. Pretty easy. And here we go. Y equals our slope and our y-intercept right there in the equation. Okay? Now, these two lines are a little bit different because you'll notice there's no x in this equation. This is just the equation y equals 3. And what that means is that every single point on this graph has a y coordinate of 3. And what you end up here, when there's no x, whoops, that looks like one word, when there's no x, all right, then what we've got is a horizontal line. And we learned in our last bit of work that the slope of a horizontal line is 0. You can start at any point as long as the y-coordinate is 3. Pick any point that you want, and I usually just start at 0, 3. But you have to make sure that the y-coordinate is the number that's written right here, okay? So I'll start at 0, 3, and I'll draw a horizontal line. Okay, y equals 3. Every single point on this graph, if you pick any other point on this graph, this point right here is negative 3, 3. The y-coordinate is 3. The y-coordinate of that point is 3. Okay, so here's the same kind of problem. This time y is negative 2. There's no x. There's no x in here at all, and that means it's a horizontal line. And if it's a horizontal line, the slope is 0. And we're going to start at any x we want as long as we give the y-coordinate negative 2. Again, it's got to be this y-coordinate that's given here. I just like to start at 0, negative 2. Nice, easy point to start at. 0, negative 2, and draw a horizontal line. Every point on that line has a y-coordinate of negative 2. All right. In the interest of saving a little space, I often will have you graph 2 lines on the same piece of graph paper, okay? And when we do that, we have to make sure we label them y1 and y2. Looking at y1, our slope is 2, and our y-intercept is 4. We're going to start on the y-axis at 0, 4, and we're going to do a slope of 2 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And our slope this time is a positive slope, so make sure that your line is going uphill. Up 2 over 1. And I can't go any further up, so I'm going to go down 2 and left 1 until I fill up my graph paper. Drawing a line. Try to keep it as straight as possible. And put a y1 at either the top end or the bottom end. Okay? If you like to graph in different colors, that's fine. The only problem with graphing in different colors is if you make a mistake, it's very hard to correct when you graph them in. But if you really want to, you can. The slope here, 1/4. The y-intercept, remember to pick up that negative, is negative 3, 0, negative 3. I'm going to do this one in red. I'm going to start at negative 3. And my slope is again positive slope, so make sure you're going uphill. Okay. Up 1 over 4, down 1 over 4, that's all I can do. And I'm going to label this one as y2. And then since we're doing this, we'll go ahead and pick up one other piece of information. If I've given you good problems, you're going to find that these two intersect in a nice point. By nice, I mean you won't have to estimate. It should be integers. And I want you just to name that point of intersection right here at the end. Just a little double check that you've done everything correctly. You're naming this point here. So start at the origin, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4. And then down, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 4. Okay? All right, let's do another one. All right, the slope is the coefficient of x. So here's our slope, negative 2/3. And this time there's this invisible y-intercept. It's not +1, it's +0. So our y-intercept is 0. Okay, that means I'm going to start at the origin, right there. I'm going to do a negative slope. Make sure your line is going downhill. Down 2, to the right 3. I can do that several times. Up 2, to the left 3. Eventually, we're going to want to make sure those little dots are not on our paper, but you can keep them there for right now. That's a y1, right there. The second line has no x in it. There's no x, and that means it's a horizontal line, and that means the slope is 0. We can start at any point we want, as long as the y-coordinate is negative 2, this number right here. So I have to start at 0, negative 2. put a dot on 0, -2, and draw a horizontal line. And we'll label this one as Y2. And then once again, I'm going to come to that point of intersection right here. There's the point that I'm looking for. And that point is 1, 2, 3, and down 2, -2. Okay? All right, I've got one more that whenever I give this one, it always throws people off just a little bit, so pay close attention. I've written this one kind of backwards from all the other ones. Instead of the x first, I have the constant first. In your brain or on your paper, you need to switch that around so that you're looking at the slope first, -1, and the y-intercept second, 4. If you don't switch it around and you still get these two numbers right, that's fine. But most people who do not take a second to switch the order of that tend to get these two wrong. Okay? Our y-intercept is 0, 4. Our slope is -1/1. Make sure that you're graphing a downhill slope, a decreasing line, and make sure you label it with y1. Check those labels also. We've used them before, but I want you to make sure that one is a subscript and not just beside it like that. That looks like multiplication, so make sure you're doing a subscript. Okay, the next one has no x. If there's no x in it, it is a horizontal line, and the slope is 0. We're going to start at the point 0, 3. And we're going to make a horizontal line right there, y2. And you can see the point of intersection is right here. That's 1, 3. Okay? I'm going to leave number 8 for you to consider as part of your homework. Based on what we've done, do you think you could write the equation for these two lines? And I'm going to leave that for you as part of your homework. Okay, we'll check that together in class on Thursday. And then you have 4, 8, 9, 10 graphs to draw, and each of the graphs involves two lines. All right, that's it.